So it looks like Dragon Age the Veilguard has been attempting to market themselves as an extremely inclusive game, specifically because of the character creation options. Many journalists and also Twitter activist types have also been praising the game for such reasons. However, a number of women have spoken out against the game, criticizing the character creation options as not actually being inclusive enough to their body types. Before we go over that, let me be sure that we're on the same page regarding these options to begin with.
But he, him, she, her, and they, them, and then your gender is man, woman, non-binary. Love that. Love the inclusivity. Top surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans and non-binary rooks out there. I absolutely was blown away by this. It's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game and to see yourself represented.
News outlet Them, which seems to cover specifically a lot of LGBT topics, would also talk about this news and prop those features up. They say, Dragon Age studio BioWare, a subsidiary of Electronic Arts, recently gave some game journalists and streamers access to Veilguard's character creator, the details of which were finally released today. Alongside options to customize their complexion, lore-appropriate tattoos, and intricately rendered hair, players may also select from a variety of facial and body scars, including an on/off toggle for top surgery scars, a boon for transgender fans who want their character to reflect their own identity. It's really funny that these journalists and these activist types will act all holier than thou and prop something up from the slightest of pandering, because if they want to act like this is so inclusive, then I'll ask why they're such bigots. Because this is actually excluding, for example, male to female trans people who may have had tracheal shaves and have a scar on their neck, but they don't get an option. And those pronouns, he, him, she, her, they, them, seriously, that's it? They literally have no options for neo-pronouns. It's like they're implying that those people just don't matter. Oh yeah, we're so inclusive, but not for you. As I mentioned in the intro, a number of women are also calling out the character creation options. Allow me to give you the context to that. You see, in the demos for the game, they show the glute size at 100%, and there on the right you can see the glute size, and once again, that's maxed out. Looking like it's non-existent, but that's maxed out. IGN also propped this character creation up. You can see what they said right here. I'm not going to read this word for word. It just sounds too lame. I don't want to repeat it, guys. Don't make me repeat this. Oh, hey, that's right. I can outsource my work to TTS. Let's do that.
There's even a glute slider, and yes, I gave my work one hell of an ass.
The other issue that people are pointing out with the character creation is the chest size. Having a similar issue to the glute size option, here's the maxed out chest size. And yeah, now personally, I actually do prefer more on the flat side, but if they're going to try and say this is such an inclusive creator and like that's maxed out, I mean, come on, what is this? Okay, with that context, that takes us to Madam Savvy, who says, I'm a 108-pound woman who sits for 15 plus hours a day. I'm not even in my prime here, and you're telling me this is your 100% on the bum slider at Dragon Age. Explain how this is your quote-unquote most inclusive character creator yet, because I can't even make my skinny bum in the game. I don't get it. Who was this character creator made for? Because it certainly wasn't made for me. These sliders do nothing. They do nothing. There's the full picture that Madam Savvy included of her and her wonderful doggo, and you can see, yeah, for her in Veilguard, she would need like a 300%, I guess. Some very odd individual would also essentially accuse her of being transphobic over that tweet, responding to it and saying, thinly veiled hatred for trans people yet again. It would be funny if you actually intended to make any sort of joke, but I guess yourself is enough. What the heck? Savvy responded saying, Hall of Fame reply right here. How could I make this about something it isn't? Just because I point out the female character creator's butt slider isn't even bigger than my own very small butt, why do you think this is about trans people? Unless you're telling me every character in the game is supposed to be trans? Do you know something I don't? I guess the character creator isn't inclusive at all then. Women are not allowed to show how silly this is, I guess. And yes, actually, I am the butt of the joke. I've been made fun of my whole life for having a small butt. Just because it now looks big compared to a fantasy game doesn't mean I'm going to call it anything but small. That wasn't the end of it though. She responded to someone else who was also offended by her tweet. And it's very odd, very weird that people are actually getting offended by that. Let's take a look. You're flexing with a straight left leg. The character's glutes would appear bigger if the character was doing the same thing. Plus them yoga pants holding that flap up. Then she says, runner-up response. Now we're on the, well, you see, if you weren't flexing, my brother in tech, I appreciate the thought. No amount of flexing nor any brand of yoga pant has ever given me shape or saved my butt. The whole joke about this is, I have a tiny, barely existing one. The bar was so exceptionally low, and they couldn't even hit that. Most women have a larger romp than I do. Many men have a larger romp than I do. Those pants are loose on me, and my butt only looks quote unquote good compared to the Max Slider character. It's like calling a cherry big when it's next to a blueberry, while everyone else is a normal orange. Yeah, it's like I said way earlier, some of these sort of Twitter activist types and journalists, etc., will get the slightest amount of pandering and then suddenly feel like they gotta defend something with their life. These are the same sort of people who absolutely fall for rainbow capitalism when corporations treat them as if they're giant tools. And unfortunately, they don't do anything to prove those corporations wrong. Another example here, we have Hex Girl Idol, who seems to have been watching Asmongold and saw that part with IGN, the one I showed you earlier. Well, the one I read from an article. It seems like maybe there was a video version of that, not 100% sure about that, but seems like that's what's going on here perhaps. And then maybe Asmongold's reacting to it. Anyways, the point is, she sees all that and then implies that she's no longer a fan of the Dragon Age series anymore after this, and asks BioWare why they're censoring her Latin ethnicity. And yeah, it looks like there is an IGN video for that, which she does link right there. That's not the only issue people are having with the character creator though. We have this YouTuber Nuhre and a 45-second clip where she's criticizing the facial options and how they look. However, she does use a lot of profanity, enough that might have issues with the video, not 100% sure, but I might indeed if I use that. Just know that she's greatly criticizing this stuff, and I'll play the ending because that part should be fine.
Like 80 options out of like 88 or whatever, they're just ugly options.
If you want to watch your whole video on that, it's about 17.5 minutes long, and I'll link it in the description for you. Believe it or not, Kotaku, of all places, would also criticize part of the character customization options while also praising it, and I'll mention my opinion on that when we get to it. But let's read this brief paragraph from their full article on this topic. I have triple Ds. I am a 38 triple D. That is my breast size. I didn't alter my body. I didn't choose to have them. That is what I have. And there are a lot of women who have that breast size. And so it's frustrating when I'm being told that my body type, my body, can't exist in these games because they're aiming for something quote unquote realistic. And I do think the Dragon Age team is very well meaning and wanting everybody to feel represented, but all of the black and brown women in my life, my friends, none of our bodies can be represented in there. I think it's hilarious that this journalist will point out the issues with the character creation options, but then go on and still try and like defend the team, being like, but they really do care. They're well-meaning. They really do want it to be inclusive for people. It's like, bro, the inclusive options are the bare minimum, and overall they've been exclusive to more people. Yet you'll have some journalists like this admitting the problems, but still going on to defend it. And those weird people on Twitter, for example, getting mad at Madame Savvy for pointing out the issues too. A lot of people are also criticizing the Kunari options. Is that how you say it? And to me, this does look weird. Like there's something uncanny about the way they made these characters look. Actually does remind me of Concord. Like there was that alien character in Concord that a lot of people also said had like this uncanny, weird, too human look to it. And I know these aren't aliens, at least I presume they're not supposed to be aliens, but it still has that similar uncanny thing going on. For example, here's some comments about this. The Kunari look like people cosplaying Kunari, if that makes sense. Their horns look like an appliance on a regular human face. The literal human faces on those Kunari bodies is quite uncanny valley. So yeah, I agree with that. Let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. That's pretty much the end of the video. Those do seem to be the main issues that I've seen people having with the character creation options. But of course, let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. And if you enjoyed my coverage, also consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.